Coming to you live with the insight you need from the financials and political capitals of the world to the heart of innovation. This is Opportunities to Consider with your host, author, speaker, and corporate strategist, Hunter Gayler.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Markets Hunter. And this is actually a corporate. This is a little different episode, so we're mixing things up a little bit. This is just me. There's no guests coming to you on this particular stream. But what I am going to do is I'm going to break down where we're at in the month of April, just so that everyone that is following gets a good corporate update on who we're going to be covering, the companies that we're following, the conversations that we're having. And there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Obviously, we're seeing some tumultuous times in the market. There's a lot of stuff politically. There's a lot of stuff geopolitically that's going on. And I just want to make sure that as the Maha here going through all of the developments across these corporations, that you are at least up to date with who the companies are, the people that we're talking with, and what this means for the market. And we'll be replaying this as well. So if you miss anything, you can always tune back in and join us. I want to just start up at the top right now with some of the companies that you're going to be hearing from this month. And if you're not following us, you should follow along. You can follow us at Twitter. It's twitter.com/Hunter Gaylor is the tag. You can follow us on YouTube at Market Hunters. You can just search in YouTube, Hunter Gaylor, it comes straight up. Also follow us on LinkedIn for more of our long form comment where we're talking about the companies that we're covering, everything from quantum computing to PetVivo, to Juul, to Vocal.media, to Blockchain Industries Inc., to Created, you name it, Quad-M, to CellSource, Ameriguard, Quantum Financial, Recruiting, Vivos, NVIDIA, you name it, GoLogic, and a couple other companies that we're talking about. So we like to focus on the stuff that the big boys aren't covering. So if you're watching CNBC, you're only seeing the big movers and shakers, and unfortunately, what they're really doing a disservice for you. And that's not to knock CNBC or any of the other big networks, but there is a big world out there, and really it's the small businesses that are the backbone of this economy that are really moving industry forward. And that's really the purpose of why I'm coming to you today, is because I want to give you a nice broad overview of the companies that I have taken a liking to, and I've had some good conversations with the management. I like talking with the people, right? You got to go straight to where the information's at. That's what makes a good markets hunter, is being able to weed out the noise, weed out the baloney, and get right down to brass tacks. Now, when we look at it from all different types, not just the day trading, day-to-day stock movement, the various analyst coverage, but really we look at it from a fundamental perspective, and this is really kind of the key takeaway that I myself use as an investment ethos, is that's we look at the fundamentals of the company being leadership, what their ability to choose management in the company, how effectively they're able to manage said management within the company. We look at the leadership, we look at market, we look at where they're going, we look at their corporate strategy. And, having run, some companies myself, having worked and do work extensively with a lot of companies across the world markets, not just in the domestic U.S., but elsewhere, tremendous experience in the Middle East and Asia and other parts of the world, given my tenure in this entrepreneurial run, if you will. But one of the main things that resonates with every single company that I talk with is, what is their differentiating factor in the market? What is their competitive edge, or their competitive driving force, if you will? So when I look at companies, we look at SWOT analyses, your strengths, your opportunities, your weaknesses, your threats. How do these companies, with what they're building, line up for acquiring good market share and, returning shareholder value? At the end of the day, that is what a company is supposed to do, really return shareholder value. I have the war stories. I've worked with the companies where the CEOs are, for lack of a better term, arrogant. They think they know it all. They think they have all the answers to all the questions. And as a market hunter and someone that looks at business and the fundamentals of leadership, a good leader has to be willing to follow. Has to be able to roll up your sleeves and work with the companies. It's the age-old saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. And so really, when we look at these companies, these are the activities that we're looking for. These are the attributes that we're looking for in companies. And I think that's critical in any organization, whether you're a Fortune 500, whether you're a small cap, a mid cap, doesn't matter what kind of company you are. You're a small business. You could be, a baker, you could be a butcher, you could be running a coffee shop, a lumber yard. It doesn't matter. The same fundamental leadership values work at whether you're running a 10,000 employee company or you're self-employed. So really, there are fundamental leadership things that we look for in companies, and that goes along with the technology and the customer service and everything else. So let's just go ahead and break it down with the companies that we're covering this month, or actually not just this month, but this quarter. We're in. Today is April 17th. It's Monday. The markets are moving. And I just want to get into where we're going to be, the companies we're going to be following for Q2 of 2023. And I just want to start off. The first company is Juul. Their stock symbol is JEWL. That's Adamas One. Adamas One is a really interesting company. Jay is the CEO of their company. I've had numerous conversations with Jay. Incredible entrepreneur, comes out of the e-commerce background, very successful in his own right as building and scaling businesses. He has an incredible company that does lab-grown diamonds. And what's really interesting about their company is the technology and where they're at. Not only are their diamonds, it's the same methodology. Instead of it being a mined diamond, and you get things like African conflict diamonds and a lot of the ethical questions that go into how they source these diamonds. These are lab-grown diamonds. They're actually the original lab-grown diamonds. They're trademarked, so really interesting stuff. We are going to be getting some of their products in that we'll be sharing with you, the viewer, and we're going to watch their company grow as they move into the e-commerce and try to take out some of the big boys in the game like Blue Nile or some of these other Origin Grown and some of these other companies. And it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. There was some recent news that came out about their company. They are presenting at the Planet Microcap Showcase, and that's coming up. The CEO will present their corporate overview at their conference, and that's going to be coming very soon. You can go to their website for more information on that. Their stock is currently trading today at 86 cents. In my opinion, tremendously undervalued. Their market cap's only 18 million. They're going to do 12 million this year in revenues. I mean, they're already doing about $1 million a month. They turn all their machines on, and they can get to full growth. Remember, we look at 3 to 5 years as far as growth is concerned when we look to analyze companies. So we're very interested in following this, and this is definitely one that we're going to be following for the long term. And, once again, surrounded yourself with incredible leadership. Go back and watch some of our videos on YouTube, listen to some of our conversations, because we go through them. We really do. We talk with the CEO and his team, and he's really bringing former guys that were, running Marc Jacobs and huge companies that are going to be great for the luxury space. We talk about how LVMH, which is Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and what they're doing in the luxury space. We look at that aspirational, attainable, especially in the diamond business. And we look at, how people are, starting to change the way they view attainable luxury items. So this is definitely a company that we're going to be following. Moving down the line, there was some recent news that came out about BCII. That's the stock symbol. It stands for Blockchain Industries Inc. Very interested in this company and what they're doing with the Your Info product. Your data. So all of my Instagram, my Twitter, LinkedIn, all of this stuff, these big tech companies are monetizing off of your data. And so when they're monetizing off of your data, I'm not making any money off of it. But what Your Info has done is it's been able to take a platform where I can sign up for their services, and it costs me nothing because I just continue doing what it is that I'm doing, and I'm able to make money off of their actual product or off of my data, which is very interesting. They recently had some news that came out where they did a joint venture with another company that we're following very, very closely, and that's a company called Created. And actually, their platform has recently changed from CRTD to VOCL, and that stands for Vocal.media, which is a great platform. They created on their Vocal platform, they have about 2 million plus creators, reaching an audience of about 200 million from its flagship social media product, Vocal. And so BCII and created, they're committed to protect data privacy and provide platform solutions for users to monetize their most valuable asset. The CEO of, and I'm going to be sitting down with the CEO of VOCL, Vocal, and we're going to be talking about where we see the company going. It's Jeremy Fromer, who is the CEO of the company. And so if you want more information, you can go look at their website. That's definitely a company we're going to be following, especially from the creative side. They also have an aspect I want to talk to them, which is called CEO Block. And that's where we address a lot of stuff. We'll be talking with people like John Tobacco of Wise Guys. He also hosts Liquid Lunch. He also does in the mornings Coffee and Tobacco. You've probably seen me on some of his programming. And so we're going to be having conversations on the issue with the market. You know, people talk about the market being rigged and the stock market being rigged. Well, it is. And we see the manipulation happening at such major levels that, unfortunately, I call it criminal in certain aspects. But when you see the way that these markets are responding to naked shorting that's going on, which is technically illegal, it's still being done. And so that's why we look at companies like this that have these innovative products like CEO Blocks, and they have these conversations like what we're having right now to really address a lot of these concerns. So that's BCII and VOCL. Make sure you follow those. Another company, which is, I still believe, massively undervalued and undiscovered, is Deis Corporation. Deis Corp, DAIS Corp, and their stock symbol is DLYT. Again, that stock symbol is DLYT. What I like about this is the CEO, Tim, who I've had numerous conversations with, and I really encourage you to go back and listen to some of those conversations that we've had on the development of their technology that leads to the elimination of PFAS and these forever chemicals. And as you know, or maybe you don't know if you're just tuning in, but if you look at all of the chemicals that are in your current water supply and the way that they keep, all of these, and really not to go on to a political rant here, because this is the Markets Hunter show, I do want to give it to you straight. And that's the point of straight talk, and that's the point of, just kind of bringing out the truth and talking with these companies. The amount of chemicals that they're putting in our water from a municipality perspective is borderline poisonous at certain aspects. And so what they've done is they've been able to create a nanotechnology that allows you to go in and have almost immediate purification and eliminate a lot of these forever chemicals. So with technology like this, if it were to be implemented at state and national levels, we would not have to worry about issues that happen with these railroad, these derailments of the railroad, or entities or events like Flint, Michigan. And so we're following this company very, very closely, not just because of the ethical, green, sustainability technology that they're producing, and they are producing some incredible technology. They're partnered with multinational global conglomerates, which you can go listen to some of our conversations on. Their market cap is a 1.2 million, massively undervalued company. So that's why we're really following them. Their Aqualite product, which is really interesting, and you can go read about it. But it's the clean water process. It's their NanoClear product and their Aqualite. They can remove complex contaminants from industrial wastewater. So I think that's a real incredible thing that's going on. And that's really one of the things that I focus on in a lot of the conversations I have with the CEO and leadership of Deis. Moving on, I'd like to talk about a couple of different companies. Quantum is a company that I've been following for some time now. I've had numerous interviews where I've spoken with the leadership, both their CTO and their CEO, Robert Lukowski of Quantum. We just had last Friday was World Quantum Day, where we're talking about the future of quantum, what a quantum financial system is going to look like, what the future is going to be for education, for healthcare, for drug research, for understanding market predictability. What really the world will look like in a quantum realm or a quantum level computing, especially where we talk about their real world case scenarios. When we talk about quantum, we kind of have always, at least the markets, talk about it in a very theoretical or hypothetical scenario. But what I love about QUBT, which is their stock symbol, Quantum Computing Inc., is the fact that they actually are doing real things. And let's play one of the clips where I'm talking with the CEO. Let's go to clip number one.
And Bill talked about that. Right. That's cybersecurity. So there's a huge play for marketability. Can you talk to where your company is in launching applications in the cybersecurity space?
Yeah, you bet. In fact, with Rabobank, we're actually doing fraud detection. So it's a different form of cybersecurity. It's actually looking at transactions to be able to determine if they're fraudulent or not. And they do, millions of transactions. So it's got to be done quite robustly. On the cybersecurity piece, what's really interesting, it's got applications across the spectrum of domains, right? Not just fintech and financial applications, but it's got infrastructure implications to it, general business uses to it. So there's a lot of different ways that cybersecurity, as we know, it's a very topical thing, impacts our daily life.
So, right there, that clip is a testament to the fact that they're looking at the security and they're actually working with real financial institutions, deploying their technology. And in one of our recent interviews, and we'll play that clip in a little bit, but they were awarded a part of a contract for NASA where they're studying ice depths and the depths of ice and snow caps using their LiDAR for quantum computing, which is obviously very fascinating. So we're going to keep definitely a lookout for this company and where they're going. And also, if you go to our LinkedIn, we do have the Quantum Minute, where we put out a newsletter on relevant quantum information and where we see it going, and for the Markets Hunter platform. And also, make sure you follow on Twitter because, I don't just put corporate information. I do a lot of leadership quotes. I do a lot of strategic planning. We cover everything from the global supply chain. We look at, companies, strategic joint ventures. We look at M&A. We really kind of cover the whole gamut. The disclaimer is I'm not a registered financial advisor, but I could play one on TV. And so this is not something for you to go in and take advice from, not trade information based on what I'm saying. But the purpose of Market Hunter is to live an investment life on target. And that's by doing your own due diligence. That's by doing your own research. That's by actually waking up and reading. Don't just listen to what the forums are saying. Don't just listen to what the talking heads and pundits are saying. Do your own research. Dive into what's really going on. And that goes to the same, not just in a markets, but you have to understand what drives the capital markets. And that's a tremendous amount of government regulation, oversight, and sometimes, to the detriment of markets, an intrusive level where they actually stifle innovation. And, that's why I always believe in the saying, the government which governs the best is the government which governs the least. And so, as we look at these companies, they may be small cap companies. They may be, mid cap companies. They might not be 4 or 5, $1 billion, $2 billion, $30 billion market cap companies like an Exxon or an Apple or something like that. But what they are, they are these companies with these lower market cap companies are employing 40, 50 people, 20, 30 people. This is the backbone economy that we're seeing. And that's why when we look at the market, a lot of these companies that I look for are the ones that are undervalued. I've always been a big fan of the David versus Goliath. I love the idea of being able to come after, and see a challenge, being able to overcome a challenge. Because that builds a lot of perseverance, that builds a lot of character, not just in the marketplace, but also in the way the businesses are run. Because, innovation can happen very, very rapidly if you have the right, information and the right team and getting everyone, in the boat rowing in the same direction. And that goes back to what I was mentioning earlier about leadership. Another company that we're following very closely is PetVivo Holding. We do have an interview coming out where I speak with John on some updates of their recent pet study that just came out. Overwhelmingly supportive in the report that came out. We'll list a link to that, and that'll follow this airing of this segment. And really, the company started out, and this is actually a fascinating story. John in and of itself, who's a seasoned Wall Street veteran, he's run these types of companies before, so he understands how to navigate Wall Street, and he understands a lot of the things that are going on with aftermarket and aftermarket support. But when we look at companies like this, they started as an FDA approved for humans with joint injections, and then they moved on to launching in the equestrian space, where they work with a lot of the competitive horses, whether it's the jumpers or it's the quarter horses. Really, it's the entire equestrian community. And they've done a very good job at capturing an extreme amount of market share there. We've had several conversations with some leading analysts, former analysts from Goldman Sachs. We've had on our show numerous times where we talk about where we see the market going, what their interpretation of the market is, and the performance of some of these stocks, if not all of these stocks that we're following, and the leadership of the companies, and what his take as a veteran on Wall Street for over 45 plus years. And so we count that as a blessing to be able to bring those resources to you in a way that allows you to make not just better decisions, but informed decisions. And that way you're coming from a foundation of education as opposed to a foundation of guesstimation, right? We don't like doing that. We like trying to be as certain as possible. And that's we get there by looking at the fundamentals. And so they've now moved into this cats and dogs, which is very interesting because we see a lot of really waste, fraud, and abuse in this space. Because when you would have to put a dog down or you put a cat down because they're getting old or they've got joint issues, just like when you get older and you have osteoarthritis, which is major in humans, you can just understand the market alone for something in that space, especially as you get older and you have wear and tear in your joints. Well, dogs and cats are just the same way. And now with a $600 simple injection of their OsteoCushion product, which is their spring, they're able to really almost, have these animals, quote, spring back to life, if you will, and have a way that they now have an extended life, and not just an extended life, but a more pleasurable life. And I had the pleasure of sitting down with several leading veterinarians, and we talked about pain management. We talked to, kind of like what the silent killer is, because we really can't tell if a dog or a cat is hurting because, unless they're communicating with us and they're trained in a certain way, we can't appreciate the pain that someone is going through. It's like you can't ask a dog like the same way a doctor does. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is your pain, right? And the dog says woof woof for 2. It doesn't work like that. So, we look at talking with the leading industry veterinarians that are administering these. And by the way, another point of note is the fact that this $600 injection that goes on by your local vet is covered by pet insurance, and there's going to be some products rolling out as well. One of the other companies we've been following is Quadin. We haven't spoken to the CEO in some time, but they just had some recent news come out where they're going to be looking at partnering with some companies to roll out some of their reinsurance products. So we're going to be covering that company as that they start reemerging with some of their new developments from a corporate perspective. So we're looking forward to following that. VVOS Therapeutics, pretty well-performing company, good volume, about 316,000 shares, $10 million market cap company. Very interesting. They had a very good earnings call. Some interesting stuff there. And a company that I'm looking at heavily right now from a management perspective is GoLogic. So we're going to be talking about that company as well. I'll leave you with a little cliffhanger on that. And also on the Market Hunter show, I'm excited to say that we're going to be talking a lot about companies that aren't publicly traded. So, we just had a C3 Mining that we had on. It's a company out of Ecuador that's pulling out a lot of, gold and silver and metals and various commodities that they're pulling out of the ground, which is very interesting. So we talked with the CFO of that company, and they're actually on WeFunder raising money right now to help scale and grow their development. We've got some other companies that we've been working with on our capital markets side, with our capital markets team, where we've been discussing some strategic joint ventures, taking a couple of companies public. So we're going to keep bringing that to you through our platform of our marketing and through what we call our transparent leadership model. And I'm going to be coming to you a little bit more of what that actually means and how we're applying that throughout all of these various organizations. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And we look forward to keeping you informed every step of the way and every stride of the way. And we leave you with a couple of parting thoughts. And thank you for everyone that is a member of the Markets Hunter community. If you're getting a lot of value and you like the information that we're providing, please like, share, and subscribe this. Obviously, as our platform grows, we get busier and busier. And so really it's a time of focus and it's a time of growth for us. But really this is an information platform where we want to hear straight from the CEOs that are making the decisions. We want to ask them the not necessarily hard-hitting questions, but we want to ask them the questions that will yield us the answers that will give us better insight into their organizations and the operational insight into their companies of how their performance is going, what they're looking like, and what the next 3 to 5 years are looking at. Because look, when you set up and when we do a lot of the leadership conversations, we talk about, okay, how can we get to a goal? Well, first you got to write it down, and that's why we talk about the mission statements and the vision statements of these companies. We look at the leadership principles of these companies and how they run their companies, and then we look at, are they executing on a path or on a program to help every day take one step closer to reaching their goals, whether it's their corporate goals, and those corporate goals are leading to fulfilling their corporate vision. That's what we look for in following the stories and following the market impacts of these companies and really what they're doing in industry. Because, a lot of these companies could easily be breakaway companies that could run to, $100, $200 a share. Companies like a PetVivo or a Quantum that are building the fundamental building blocks of the future. And so we're really looking forward to seeing where that's going. Now, just listening to this isn't enough. You should be reading multiple things. We'll put links below to a lot of the articles of the economists and people we listen to. If you are a company and you are looking to continue to expand and grow, or you are looking to be plugged into the Market Hunters platform on a worldwide basis, we will put our information to Wall Street Capital Partners, where Doug Anderson, myself, people like Stephen Moore, leading economist, was appointed by Trump to several positions. We have the network and the resources to be able to handle aftermarket, but also do the corporate strategy and international strategic advisement to help companies get to the next level in a no-nonsense, non-bureaucratic way. And that's really kind of a testament to how we're able to set up and run our organization. So we thank you for tuning into Market Hunters, and just in a few parting thoughts, thank you for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe across all of our platforms. We'll be coming to you on Roku very, very soon to a much larger global audience, where we're not just covering U.S. companies. We're going to be covering companies in the Middle East. We're going to be covering a lot of the developments going on in Asia. We're going to be covering a lot of the market happenings, and we're also going to be covering a lot of the geopolitical issues, where we're going to have guests on and we're going to talk about what's really going on behind the scenes, how this is going to affect you, how it's going to affect your family. Times may be tough, but that builds the character, and that's where really kind of greatness is born. And so that's what we're focusing on. So make sure you like and subscribe across all of our platforms. And tune in live every time that you see the live. We're on YouTube, Twitter. We're going to be coming to you on Instagram as well as we start getting all these things set up. Make sure you tune in for all of our scheduling. And we do have the Markets Hunter website is being redesigned, so that's going to come out with a much more interactive, with up-to-date. But social is where we're at for right now. And we're just going to keep bringing it to you with the information, with a lot of opportunities to consider right here on the Markets Hunter platform. So until next time, signing off, yours truly, the Market Hunter.